Good afternoon, and welcome to, once again, another edition of Midnight in the Desert. All 25 time zones, I guess there's 25 out there, covered like a blanket by this program. My name is Art Bell. Oh, boy, Fridays are for fun. But we'll get to that in a minute. When I was so absorbed, we had a little trouble before the show. Keith's zip unit, the zip unit down there. The way this show is sent is from here to Keith by what's called a zip unit made by Telos, amazing machines. And his went belly up. It just said, I quit, I die. And so I actually thought for a while it was not going to be on the air tonight because it wasn't going to work. And then we got it working. Then I decided, well, I'm going to listen to Year of the Cat because I love the sax so much. And I got so carried away that I went right past, I did a nice time check at 57 and then zoomed right past the opening by about 10 seconds for the show. So that's probably the kind of night it's going to be tonight. It's open lines. Now, we have 3 rules on Friday nights. No bad language. 1 call per show, except at the end. When we do Fast Blast at the end of the program, all rules, let's see. Yeah, what the hell? All rules go out the window when we do Fast Blast. So there you get to say one sentence. We're going to have a Fast Blast talk tonight, a special The Talk segment for Fast Blast at the end. So let me begin with the news, and then we'll get to the weird, okay? It obviously was, as I told you the other night, it would turn out to be ISIS-inspired. It's not directed, inspired. The FBI announced Friday it is investigating the mass shooting at a Southern California office party as an act of terrorism. But the agency's director said there is no indication that the slain husband and wife who killed 14 were part of a larger plot or members of a terrorist cell, per se. While authorities did not cite specific evidence that led them to the terrorism focus, U.S. Law enforcement officials revealed the wife, Tashfeen Malik, had under a Facebook alias pledged allegiance to the Islamic State group and its leader, just as she did as she picked up the gun to shoot people. A Facebook official said that Malik praised Islamic State in a post at 11 a.m. Wednesday. That's when all this happened, when the couple were believed to have stormed a San Bernardino social service and opened fire. So, as I told you on Wednesday, and I tell you again tonight, it's here. It's in the homeland now. So they also destroyed hard drives in the apartment. They destroyed smashed cell phones. So obviously trying to get rid of evidence. It was interesting. The landlord in their building invited the, and there was no reason he couldn't do it, but he invited the press in. Here's how the story goes. He invited the press in, and boy, did they go in. Take pictures of the apartment. I think it had been turned over by the FBI. Nevertheless, the story goes that after he did that, a black SUV, it's always black, right? Always an SUV, pulled up, scooped up the landlord, and took him away for, I don't know, a discussion? I'm not sure, whatever. As investigators search for any motive behind the deadly rampage in San Bernardino, politicians are searching for a way to talk about it. The details of the California massacre are pointing now to Islamic militants, of course, raising questions about domestic extremism, quickly knocking both Republicans and Democrats straight off their talking points, upending what has become a grim and predictable ritual in American politics. Democrats who vowed to use every mass shooting as a moment to call for new gun laws were temporarily tempering their rallying surprise, Republicans who point to mental health services as the solution had begun to blame extremist views. Oh, this is interesting. The lighting in here is dimming. So in other words, the talking heads that normally go on CNN and Fox, either to call for confiscation of all these awful guns, are caught in a position now, since it's international terrorism, where they're not sure what to say, because it sounds a little silly to be talking about collecting all the guns, right, if this is international terrorism that, frankly, in San Bernardino, where probably nobody except the cops had guns, it might have been stopped or lessened. So those liberals had to go away and rethink their points, get new talking points. But the very serious side of this is it's here now. And I guess a mass shooting is a mass shooting is a mass shooting, right? In the end, people are dead. It's awful. Horrible. People have such little regard for human life, huh? And, hey, girls. The government is deliberating whether to propose selective service changes that would make women eligible for the military draft. Up 1, 2, 3, 4. The White House said on Friday. They really are. The Pentagon says it will no longer bar women from combat jobs. So in other words, ladies, if war comes, you could be drafted if this were to change, put into a uniform loaded down with usually many pounds of equipment, get your gun, and go off to war. Now, the latest country to decide it will bomb ISIS over Syria is Germany. Germany stepped up its contribution to the fight in the against the Islamic State on Friday, with lawmakers overwhelmingly voting, as did Great Britain, in favor of sending reconnaissance jets, a tanker plane, and a frigate. So I'm starting to think, with all the countries flying jets over Syria, it's going to be busier airspace than LAX on a busy day. You know? How are they going to keep everybody separated? It's going to be pretty crazy. This is from the internet. Flying humanoid over Indonesia may be orang bati. That's what they call it, according to the Serious Universe. Now, that's a headline you don't really see every day, right? Flying human. Any follower of 14 News Stories knows that flying humanoids aren't anything new, although they turn out to mostly be hoaxes. But there is an orang bati, you ask. Pretty much exactly what it sounds like. A legendary creature that is part orangutan, part bat, and part human. Question mark appropriately put after that, or maybe just a giant bat. Well, okay, so on an open lines Friday night, literally anything goes. No bad language, right? One call per show until the end. 2 drink maximum. Let me give you the numbers, and then I've got just a couple of more things that I want to get out here real quickly. Our public number, this is the one you're going to want to write down, right? And be really sure that you've got it right, is area code 952-225-5278. Once again, national number, good for all. Area code 952-225-5278. Whatever you've got to say, fair game. Now, we have a first-time caller line. If you have never called this program before, here it is. Area code 775-285-5800. That's 775-285-5800. And now I will establish a special line tonight. We're going to call it the Inhuman Encounter line. Now, what I mean by that is those of you who have come face to face with something clearly not human. That could include anything. It could include grays. It could, all of them. Anything clearly not human. Now, that doesn't mean your dog or your cat, right? Or a cow down the street. We're looking for, obviously, something human-like but not human. Does that make sense? Probably not. Oh, I spoke to John Lear earlier tonight, and I would like to wish John Lear happy birthday, John. John is now 73 years old. So, hey, John, happy birthday. John said he wants to come on. He's got a lot he wants to tell us. He's not feeling real well these days, but it is his birthday. So he decided he's had not tonight, maybe next week. We'll sort of check on John next week, see how he is. But John Lear, 73 years old today. Let's see, there was something else. Yeah. I was really entranced with the Todd Robbins show the other night. I don't know how many of you heard Todd. But, God, what an amazing man. Just absolutely amazing. It's like one of those things I can't get out of my mind. So, I'm not saying I'm going to do it. I'm saying I'm thinking about it. I've got a light bulb right here. I tried to show it briefly on earlier on Periscope. Listen. Wait a minute. It's not going to tell you. There you go. It's my light bulb. You know what it says on top of it? It's hard to read because it's almost worn off, but it says 700 lumens, and above that it says, appropriately, Hungary. Now, I'm fairly sure that Hungary is the country in which it was manufactured, but I'm not positive about that. The 700 lumens part, I am. I don't know what that equates to. Maybe 65 watts, something like that. Looks like about a 65-watt standard light bulb. And I figured this. Look, if Tony Robbins can eat a light bulb, why not me? I listened, and I've watched the video several times now, training myself. And obviously what you have to do is bite it right near the metal base, right? And then try and eat the rest of the thing, which is going to take a little bit of effort. But I think the base bite is going to be the hardest part. So, hear it? There it is. Maybe we'll get to that. I'm trying to work up the nerve. But, when I saw printed on the top of it, Hungry, I thought, yeah, baby. Gotta do it. It's the right one. It's calling to me. It says Hungry. Hungry? There should be a question mark after that. Hungry? Huh. All right. Anything goes, open lines. It's Friday night. Good luck to us all.
Strikes 12, and Midnight in the Desert is pounding packets your way on the Dark Matter Digital Network. To call the show, please direct your finger digits to dial 1-952-225-5278. That's 1-952. Call Art.
Oh, man, every line is full except my special line. Now, come on. The Inhuman Encounter line, you mean to say? We have no people out there that have encountered a gray or a scaly one? Or anybody who's had an inhuman encounter. This is a face-to-face encounter with something clearly not human. It could be, I don't know, a vampire, an alien, a hybrid, humanoid, any humanoid well, not any human, but humanoid. And she has, please don't eat the light bulb. Well, I don't know. I'm going to contemplate that. If he can do it, I can do it. All right, and the rest of the talk is you can get us on Skype tonight if you wish. If you're new to the program, Skype is the way to go if you get it right. So this is the Master Talk tonight. If you have an iPhone or if you have an Android, lesser, still nice, you can download Skype. It's free, absolutely free. When you get it installed, become familiar with it. It's a free program, and you can call around the world with it. When you get into Skype, you add us as a contact. That's right. You actually add us as a contact with a little plus sign there. Push that and then put in, if you're in North America, MITD 51. MITD 51. If you're outside the country, outside North America, that is MITD 55. MITD 55. That's worldwide, and it's free. You could be other side of the planet and call us up free of charge. It's, what a deal, huh? So there's a lot of news. You can comment on the news if you wish. It's pretty dire. It was ISIS. We've got it here at home now. And/or you can come and... Oh, wait, we do have somebody. Somebody who has encountered something non-human. Hello, you're on the air. First up, actually.
Thank you, Art. Good to hear your voice. This is Tim from Colby.
Hey, Tim.
And I just wanted to share one with you. I heard you said no one was calling on this line, so
well, yeah.
I'll tell you about a story that happened to me when I was about 15 years old. I was out driving around with a friend, and it was probably about 2 o'clock in the morning. It was his first car. And we get pulled over because we're swerving, and the cop checks us, makes sure that we're not drinking or anything.
Well, wait a minute. You're swerving. Why are you swerving?
It's 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're in high school, so we were out late just goofing around.
All right. Well, sometimes you swerve for fun. I've done that.
Well, and, kids dorking around in a car, it's bound to happen. So.
I still do it as an adult. I'll press the gas and let go and press the gas and let go, and I'll say, oh, my God, our car is dying. My wife will look at me like, not again.
You don't still have that Geo Metro, do you?
No, but up until recently we did.
Okay, well, getting on with my story here.
They
told us to pull over, get some air, take a break.
Right.
We go to a local park that's out of the way, and there's a little creek area out there. We pull up and we find like 24 beers, and we don't touch them, but we go down by the creek just to stretch our legs and get some air. And
Wait a minute. 24 beers sitting all by themselves, just abandoned.
It was the end of harvest season around here, and I guess a farmer crew or someone had left them here at this park.
It's damn near a paranormal story already.
Well, the guy I was with wanted to scoop them up, but we figured if they were still there and the cops hadn't shown up to harass us again, we might. But we're walking down to this creek area, and there's some trees, and something just didn't feel right. We both got the feeling that we were being watched. And as time progressed, we are starting to get a little closer, and we both swear we see a pair of eyes staring at us from a treetop.
Seriously?
And and they were red. I know how much you like that.
Not at all. And from a treetop, even worse.
Well, and it was odd because they were further spaced apart than a human's head would allow. So whatever it was, either had eyes that were really far to the side or something. But
right.
We watched this thing jump from tree to tree. And when we saw that and we got a better view of whatever this thing was, it was fully humanoid in shape. But it made an impossible leap. It was probably about 20 feet from tree to tree. And, this is Kansas we're talking about here. We don't exactly have any apes or anything like that.
Yeah, so. Could you get a sense of the size at this point?
I would say it was at least 6 foot. And
wow,
long legs, long body structure. Looked like it was really muscular. We fled in terror, didn't mess with the beers, got in the car, and just got the heck out of there.
Oh, yeah, something like that could have absolutely prevented you from reaching full adulthood.
Oh, yeah, we were both fearful for our lives with that night.
Blame you.
We were driving, and this thing chased us. We went down a dirt road, and we were trying to get back to my house, and this thing chased us. airborne.
Oh, God. I thought the
was.
story was over and you were out. Now you're saying it's after you and it's airborne on top of everything else. And now it's
airborne and it's muddy roads, and we're driving as fast as we can to get back to my house, trying to find some safe place. Looking out through the sunroof, we could see this thing dive bombing towards the vehicle. And it was scary. And a little 86 Mustang, I'll never forget, looking up through the sunroof while my friend drove and seeing this thing. And there's nothing we could do. The roads were completely muddy. If we stopped, we were stuck. We just had to stay the course and keep on driving and hope that this thing didn't run us off the road.
Well, that's incredible. At its closest point in dive bombing you, how close was it?
10 feet, 5 feet.
That's really close. Could you make out details, more details when it was that close?
It was really dark and we were really panicked. I couldn't make out. I thought it was smooth. I didn't see any sort of hair on it. But I couldn't make out any sort of colors. It was a dark night.
That is so freaky.
Yeah, and I found out later that that site, there was, when they were excavating it to be a park, they were finding burial skulls. It was an old Native American burial ground. So I'd kind of settled years later on thinking maybe this thing was some sort of a guardian.
Yeah, really sounded like a guardian to me. Heat shining red eyes and dive bombing at you and chasing you while you're driving.
Well, he could probably sense we were up to no good, so I take some solace with that.
Maybe with its beady red eyes, it looked down, saw the beers, and thought, man, these guys are going to get in such trouble. Here, let me just scare the you-know-what out of them.
Well, it's either that or maybe he wanted them for himself. It's hard to say.
All right, thank you very much for the call. That was a good, very good initiation of the Inhuman Encounter line. Once again, those of you who have had some kind of face-to-face encounter with something clearly not human. That could include a lot, couldn't it? Let's go to, is it pronounce it for me, Aisa? Isa. Hi, Isa.
Hi, Art.
Okay, you sound far away. Are you on a speakerphone?
No, can you hear me now?
Right, get closer, and you're in a vehicle of some kind, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We're calling from Pahoa, Hawaii.
From Hawaii?
We love your show.
Thank you.
We just wanted to suggest a really good...
We're not going to allow people to put websites on the air. And I'm going to tell you why, because I was trying to be more liberal about it, but a few weeks ago somebody called up with a XXX website and put that on the air, and so I know what you gave me is not XXX, but we're just going to initiate that policy.
Okay. Well, we love your show, and thank you for being back.
Well, how's everything in Hawaii?
Awesome. We have a dengue fever scare, but other than that, it's pretty cool.
Where I lived in the Philippines, we went through that all the time. We got dengue bulletins, and dengue
I'm actually Filipino. I was born in Cebu.
Well, then you know.
Yes.
There's a lot of dengue over there, and there's really no treatment for dengue fever. They're talking about some kind of inoculation someday, but that's someday. Right now, if you get dengue, you either live or you die.
Oh, geez. I don't think it's that serious. The
it is.
That's here isn't that bad, I hope.
Oh, listen, your white cell count goes berserko, and kids especially die from dengue. They do.
Oh, my gosh.
You didn't know that?
No. I thought it was just you got sick for, a short amount of time, and that was it. Unless you get all 4 strains, I don't think it's that serious, right?
Well, maybe the Hawaiian strain is less of a strain. I don't know. But I really do think it's dangerous no matter what. Dengue is bad stuff, so...
Well, that's bad news.
You got a lot... do you have a lot of mosquitoes in Hawaii now?
Yes, they're everywhere. It's impossible to not get bit by a mosquito.
Yeah, so every time you get bit,
We're like in the middle of the jungle. So.
In the middle of the jungle.
Yes.
Cool. Well, thank you for the call.
Thank you.
Take care. Stay away from dengue. Bad, bad, bad stuff.
Look at us, but do not touch. Phaedra is my name.
Midnight Matter can be explored on Midnight in the Desert with Art Bell. If using Skype from your computer, please be sure to use a headset mic and call MITD 51. That's MITD 51.
That's right. Outside the country, MITD 55. Then we're on your contact list. You can push the button and call us free of charge from anywhere in the world. Just don't use the speaker mic, please. Don't do that. It's going to sound awful. Trying to do a lot of Skype education here. Again, happy birthday, John Lear, 73 years old today. Spoke to him earlier. He may be with us next week if he's feeling well for at least an hour, something like that. All right, my one line is open. That's the only one open. Nobody with the guts, huh? Nobody else with the guts. It is my Inhuman Encounter line. That's what I'm calling it. It means that you have a story to relate about a face-to-face encounter you had with something clearly not human. If you have a story of that caliber, call me now at area code 575-208-7787. Again, 575-208-7787, the only line that's not filled at the moment. The first-time caller line is, though, you're on the air, honey. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, oh, excellent. You made it to the phone.
Sorry, yeah, I had you on speaker waiting. I understand that you're doing the face-to-face with aliens or possible.
No, not necessarily aliens. Something not human.
Okay.
I don't want to limit it to aliens.
Okay. I don't have that story tonight. Mine was going to be something about what I experienced, which what I thought I had a death experience that was unusual. But
go ahead.
It's not.
Go ahead. Tell it.
It happened about 5 years ago, and during my sleep, I had been diagnosed with sleep apnea. Hadn't been using my machine.
Oh, yeah.
I was back on the East Coast. And during my dream, I'm on a jet, and I'm looking out. There's no one on the jet. It's pure white outside the windows, like you might see if you're above the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
And I could actually see out the cockpit that was open. And I went to get up, and a voice said, "Sit down, Dave." And I sat down, and the next thing it appears is that we just landed somewhere. And
I'm just a little bit confused. You said
sure.
You were in a passenger seat, right?
Correct.
Well, you could see out the cockpit.
I could see out the cockpit as if the door was open. I saw no people, no pilots.
Oh.
Yeah. And the jet was moving, and the normal sounds you might hear seemed to be there, but not as dramatic, say.
Right.
And then when I saw the side, the door open, I got up again, and they said, "Dave, it's not your time." And I woke up, and I had never felt the feeling of complete relaxation, complete at peace. It was indescribable. I would love to experience that feeling again, but not if it's what I thought it was, which later, talking with a few people, said you probably died and came back. It wasn't your time.
Yes. Well, people with that problem, of course, can stop breathing and then spontaneously begin again, or because somebody up above said it's not your time, start your breathing. Anyway, very cool story. I wouldn't be so calm and collected when I looked up through the cockpit and saw no pilots. I would be really concerned at that point. I appreciate your call, sir.
Surreal.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you.
Right, thank you. It is what it is, right? But I just cannot imagine looking up, seeing the empty seats, and probably with the stick, kind of randomly moving back and forth. Or is that too much detail? Or maybe the altimeter's spinning down. Anyway, let's go to Marie. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Where are you, Marie?
I am in Spokane, Washington,
Okay.
and I have been listening to your show since I was 9 years old.
And so now you're up and collecting Social Security, right?
No, I'm 32.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, everybody
Okay.
just cannot resist to say something to make me feel my age.
Yeah.
It's all
You
right.
sound perfectly. You sound like you did when you were back in the 90s.
Actually, I do, don't I? And even maybe a little better because the audio is much better.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, anyway, what's up?
Oh, not too much. Well, I had a strange experience when I was younger. I don't know if it had to do with UFOs or whatnot, but when I was 9 years old, I had an encounter with an alien. I thought it was all a dream until I woke up and there was blood on my arm.
Well, when you began the conversation, you said you didn't know whether it was an alien or not, and then you said when you were 9 it was an alien and there was
Yes.
blood on your arm.
Yeah,
So did the alien bite you, or what happened?
I don't remember.
Was it your blood or the aliens?
It was my blood, most certainly, but when I woke up, I went, what is this? And I was standing, my bed was on one end of the room.
Right.
Window was on the other side. So I was standing out the window.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very, very much for the call. And I guess there is no answer to what the alien did to you. I mean, were there any physical marks on your body or anything?
I couldn't remember. I was so young that I couldn't remember, Mr. Brow.
Gotcha. Okay, well, I appreciate the story. Thank you. What do you all make out of that? A little bit of a nosebleed, maybe, and a big imagination. I don't know. But she did say alien, didn't she? So anything goes. Friday nights. The rest of the week, we do very serious guests, as you can tell. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If Fridays come, it's anything goes. Whatever you want to talk about is fair game. On our special line, somebody who met something eye to eye, face to face. You're on the air. Where are you calling from?
Would that be me you're talking to?
That would be you.
Oh, nice. I am calling from Lockport, New York. My name is Steve.
All right, Steve. For the education of all who plan to call this show, when I answer the phone, you will hear a little ding sound, and then you'll know that's me picking up the phone line. Did you hear that?
Yes, sir. That's what had me curious.
Okay, well, that's the tip-off that you're on the air. Anyway, go ahead.
Thank you. Tuesday morning, August 16th, 2011. I woke up next to my wife, laying in bed, rolled over on my back, and up in my ceiling in what I'm going to call like a vortex was a black square hole, and inside it, where the ceiling should have been about a foot and a half, was orange eyes. They never blinked. I could barely make out the outline. It looked like a head, and I know it was alien. It actually locked up my body. It lasted about 5 minutes, and I watched the eyes go away from me at that moment, and the blackness retreated, and the ceiling came back, and my body became unfroze, and I was able to get up. I yelled at it, told it never to come back, and then I realized what it was a couple minutes later, and I think I had an opportunity to possibly talk with a being from another planet, and I blew it. Maybe you can give me some insight on why or how these things are visiting us and why they're doing this.
Well, in this case, I sense that the being that you encountered was going to tell you, and just you, the secret of how to save the planet from complete, utter destruction. But as you mentioned, sir, you blew it.
Well, here's something to tinker, too. At that time, I had 2 artificial discs in my cervical spine.
Right.
I also possibly thought, like 6 months after that happened, that maybe there was something with these discs where maybe they were part of a government test. Maybe they were projecting something through my spinal cord into my brain.
That's quite a guess.
That's a feasible option or no?
Well, I'd go for no, but, your story is really good, and I can just imagine looking up to the ceiling where the ceiling should be. There's essentially a hole and a blackness and orange eyes. Yikes. I appreciate your call, sir.
Here's the funny thing. Now, I told this to my pain management doctor because I've been on Social Security disability.
I bet he cut down your dosage, right?
No. They told me the medicine that they had me on, which is painkillers, could not cause hallucinations. They had me whisked in for surgery, and those discs were removed that following November. I didn't even have to have
a So now you're putting the capper on it. You're saying, all right, so the doctor realized the discs did have something to do with your encounter and had them removed.
They took them out, and they fused my neck at those 2 locations. I told the pain management specialist this. It was my spinal surgeon who got the authorization in no time flat for the surgery after I had told them that at the pain management.
It's completely incredible. All right, thank you very, very much for the call. And these are good uses of this line. Here I was concerned. It's the one special line we have open tonight, the Inhuman Encounter line. Those of you who have had face-to-face encounters with something clearly not human. If that would be you, area code 575-208-7787. It started out so slowly I was worried, but now I see it filling quickly. Justin on Skype. Hello.
Hello, Art.
Hey, Justin.
I'm from Ohio. I'm a first-time caller. I love your show. I just started listening since you came back.
Thank you. How did you, can I ask a question? How did you find out that we were back?
So I had TuneIn Radio on my phone, and I just looked up paranormal shows.
Right.
And I came across Coast to Coast AM, and then I saw your Dark Matter and started listening to you, and I really loved your show.
So then you found the real paranormal.
Excuse me?
It doesn't matter. Anyway, what's up, Justin?
So I wanted to say something real quick, and then have a 2-part question. And if we have time, I'd like to play a short clip of a song for you, if that's okay.
We'll see. Let's go with the question first.
Okay. So I was thinking, I think in the next 200 years, I think we may start moving towards a one-world government, and I think that we should. I think we should do that. I think that would be good for peace. I think it's inevitable.
And you really think that will happen within 200 years?
Maybe more. I mean, you look at the European Union and what that's done for Europe after a lot of history of infighting between different countries.
Well,
I think that one world government is going to happen sooner or later, and I think it could solve many conflicts. My 2-part question is, do you think ISIS wants to draw us out into combat like what happened in...
Absolutely, without question, they want American troops on the ground, yes.
Because we saw that Iraq really sent our country into an economic depression, so maybe that's what they want. But on the other hand, do they want to divide Western countries so that they don't join into conflict against ISIS? Because that would, if Western countries were to join together, that might be moving towards that one world government.
Sir, I'm going to say this again. The center of their ideological world, and I'm not talking about all Muslims, I'm talking about ISIS, is to begin the end of the world, to bring about Armageddon.
Mm-hmm.